Are you a business owner? Perhaps a real estate or insurance agent, or a 1099 salesperson or home-based business owner? If you are in the United States or Canada, then we can show you how to get free government funding for your business. How? We're going to show you how to save $10,000 on your business taxes this year. TaxBot was founded by Sandy Botkin, a CPA, tax attorney, and former IRS trainer. And we believe that what you don't know is costing you big bucks. In our opinion, 95% of small business owners overpay their taxes every year. Why, you might ask? It's simple. Lack of knowledge and tools. There are 3 things you need to know as a business owner. Number 1, there are huge tax benefits available to you. The government wants you to succeed in business and passes good tax laws to help you. Most of you might know about a few deductions, but chances are you are severely uneducated on the subject. If you think your accountant takes care of your taxes, then I'm talking to you. Number 2, there are strict requirements imposed by the IRS and the Canada Revenue Agency when it comes to recording your expenses so that they qualify as deductions. So when does a business expense become a deduction? When it's documented properly. Otherwise, there can be strict penalties. Our guess is that almost everyone watching this video is not in compliance. Number 3, there is an easy way and a hard way to turn your expenses into deductions. The hard way is tracking mileage with a clipboard or keeping a journal full of expense details. Here's a hint. Most accounting software does not protect you against an audit. The easy way is using TaxBot. In just seconds, you can capture expenses, store receipts, track mileage, and turn them all into valuable deductions. We want to invite you to take the 30-day risk-free TaxBot challenge. Over the next 30 days, we bet that we can show you how to save $5,000 to $10,000 this year. TaxBot is the fusion of simple education and easy-to-use tools. As part of the challenge, we will send you 8 5-minute videos packed full of tax education that will change the way you do business forever. If you want, you can access all 40 of our videos online during that trial period, but we're only asking you to commit to watching 8 in 30 days, and we will send them directly to your email. You will also get access to TaxBot's easy-to-use web and mobile apps to help you track all your expenses and turn them into deductions. If you take this 30-day challenge and don't save at least 20 times your monthly investment, or if you're unhappy for any reason, simply call and we will refund your money. What are you waiting for? Take the risk-free 30-day challenge and see if we can make your life a lot less taxing.
Good evening, everyone. This is Aaron Parker, and I am super excited to be on this live webinar tonight. I've never had an opportunity like this before. I'm going to introduce someone to you here in just a second, and I'm just super excited to be here. Thank you so much for jumping on. Again, this is Aaron Parker, and this information that you're about to learn about tonight, I want to challenge you to pay very close attention. I know that we've got distractions, Facebook and cell phones and stuff. This is really important. And the gentleman that you're about to hear from, I've seen him, I've heard from him over the years, many years, as being an expert in the field. He is a CPA, attorney for an attorney for the IRS, and he is a tax attorney. And this gentleman, Mr. Sandy Botkin, is an expert in saving money for taxes. And this is really, it hits home for me, because for those of you that know me, my wife and I, we were in the network marketing industry for many years, but we never made money in the network marketing industry. And amazingly enough, we were still able to save thousands of dollars on taxes, even though we weren't making money in our home-based business. And that's exactly what you guys are going to hear tonight on this webinar. And this information is really important for your business. I just hope you guys really truly understand that. And by the way, I want to give a quick shout out to Chris Gross. He is from Networking Times. I actually met Chris at the No Excuses Summit just a couple weeks ago in Vegas. I had heard a lot about TaxBot, this program. I started taking a look at it. I was simply blown away, because over the years, as I was just mentioning, having to do my taxes and go to like H&R Block and all that kind of stuff, having to keep track of everything. can sometimes be very tedious, and it's really not fun. And when I started looking at this program, TaxBot, for one, you guys probably have heard of Todd Falcone. He loves this and recommends this to his whole team. There's a lot of big leaders in the industry that love this program. And I just absolutely fell in love with it because it takes something that's tedious that we don't like to do, and that's taxes, and makes it fun. It makes it easy. It takes care of all the, you're going to learn about it tonight, but it just makes the painstaking process much more enjoyable. And I'm just so honored and so just amazed that I have this opportunity right now to introduce this gentleman, Mr. Sandy Botkin. Are you there, sir?
Yes, I am. Thank you so much, Aaron. I really appreciate it. By the way, I'm very honored to be participating with you and Kathy. But I'm also honored, folks, to speak to you, self-employed individuals. I mean, heck, my mom was self-employed. I'm self-employed. And I really admire entrepreneurial spirits. That's why I've been going around the country trying to show people how they can basically reduce their taxes substantially, have a really side income just from the reduction in taxes in less than 2 minutes a day. Now, this is a very content-oriented program. Those of you who've heard me before know that's the case. And this is sort of like a 30,000-foot overview of what's in some of my books. So you're going to want to get some notes. We're going to move, and I'm going to move very quickly. We only have about 50 minutes. Then we're going to leave a few minutes open for questions. So get some paper, get a pen, because we are going to move. If you have any questions, type them into the chat box. As my friend Chris would say, type them early, type them in. And we'll try and take them at the end of the program if time permits. Fair enough? First question, I have a number of questions I'm going to be asking you, actually. Has anybody ever had the experience of being overbilled for something on your credit card that maybe you purchased, or maybe you got billed for something you didn't purchase? I mean, that happened to me. I was in Florence, Italy, and I came back I had dinner with my wife in Florence, and we got a bill for about $120 on my credit card, except we got the bill twice. Would you agree with me that the higher the amount, the more aggravating it became? Would you agree? How did this happen to you? How did you feel about it? Did you let the overcharge go, or did you do like I did, demand a refund? Now, I was really ticked off. Well, I want you to hold on to that feeling, because frankly, I'm about to make it worse. Now I'm going to ask you another question. I'm going to get back to this question as well. Do you want to just pay all the tax that you legally owe, or do you want to pay a lot more? What if you as a business person were overpaying your taxes by literally thousands of dollars a year? I don't mean a credit card payment by 50 or 100. I mean thousands. Would you want to know about it and do something about it? Of course you would. I mean, if you're saying, yeah, absolutely. Well, over the next, I'd say roughly 50 minutes, I am going to prove to you that you are in fact overpaying your taxes by literally thousands of dollars a year. But the good news is, don't worry, because I'm going to give you a very simple, easy solution to help you keep thousands of your own money every year for the rest of your life. And you may be thinking, oh boy, what's this going to cost? Here's the total price in terms of time, effort, and money. The solution will require less than 2 minutes a day, I promise. One finger's effort, and cost zero new out-of-pocket expenses. How's that? If that sounds fair, then let's get started, okay? First of all, I've been lecturing for over a quarter of a century, and I've helped hundreds of thousands of business owners save tens of millions, probably hundreds of millions in taxes. I'm going to be offering some really shocking facts, and that's going to sound, I think, too good to be true. So because of that, I want to give you my background, qualifications, in order to gain your trust, so that you may know that I know what I'm talking about. First of all, I'm a CPA. I'm also a tax attorney, and I'm a former trainer of IRS attorneys nationwide. So if you think of an IRS agent as a rat, I guess that makes me the head rodent. I've been president of my own tax education organization for over a quarter of a century. It's actually been over 30 years. In fact, I've been lecturing I'm a featured tax coach with Donald Trump at Tony Robbins' Wealth Seminars. As Aaron said, I'm the best-selling author. I'm the best-selling author of 2 books, actually. The first one is called Lower Your Taxes Big Time. And I strongly recommend that you get that. It's available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble. It's very reasonable. It's not expensive. And the second one, which is now garnering tremendous reviews, it was just mentioned on AOL, front page, a few days ago, in fact. And that's Achieve Financial Freedom Big Time. And I've served as a guest tax expert on Fox, CNN, CBS, CNBC. I was cited, as I mentioned, on AOL and so on. And I'm not saying this to impress you. I just want you to know that I really know what I'm talking about. And that's the important thing, I think. Okay? Here is shocking fact number one. You know, it's commonly believed that debt is the number one household expense for most families. And that's wrong. The number one expense in North America is taxes. It exceeds what most families pay for food, housing, transportation, and clothing combined. Now, here's another shocking fact regarding retirement. There was a study done a number of years ago by Harvard, I think it was Harvard, and they wanted to know what percentage of people can retire with the same standard of living they had before retirement at age 65. The answer was shocking. Only 4% can retire with the same standard of living. Now, what does that mean to you? 96% of the people, of everyone on this line, unless they do something, will either have to continue working, live on some form of charity, live off family, or reduce their standard of living. And by the way, this number is going to be worse, because when this survey was conducted about 15 years ago, most people had pensions. A lot of pensions are no longer in existence now. Everything now is 401ks. Here's the point. If you can get money back by saving big money on taxes, which is probably your number one expense, can't that help cure your retirement worries? Because I want you to think about this, because you do have a choice on who gets your money with proper tax planning. You really do. Now, this is going to sound kind of funny, but it's true. Both the U.S. government and Canadian government are among the biggest bookies in North America. Why? Because they're betting on you big time to succeed in your business. And if you don't understand this, then you're betting against your own success big time. My goal is to help you place a winning bet on your own business success by maximizing the tremendous great government tax benefits available for business. And by the way, in this seminar, this webinar, I'm going to be using a bet as sort of a kind of fun way to get you to understand that lots of people are betting on your success. That includes your upline and many other people, including me, by the way. And here's why I'm betting on you. We have two tax systems in North America. Did you know that? You know, when I say that, a lot of people say, oh, sure, Sandy, one for poor and maybe one for rich. That's close. There's one to make you rich, and then there's one that's going to severely limit your chances, and that's for employees. Employees get no business tax breaks, and they're taxed on almost every dollar from dollar one. Whereas self-employed people, they get all the deductions they want in business, and they only pay tax on the net. They get to drink all the deductions before the government gets one drop. So employees, and another thing, by the way, employees really don't get that many deductions, despite what you may think. But the tax breaks that make you rich, as I said, are reserved for business owners. They're the ones who are the job creators. You know, the tax benefits are enormous if you choose to take advantage of them. You got to know about it to take advantage of them. And by the way, a lot of times people ask me, what's the reason we have two tax laws? And why is one for business better? The reason is very simple. Jobs, jobs, and more jobs. Small business creates over 70% of the job growth in North America. And what's good about the business taxes is that it creates deductions which will generate cash that you never have to pay back. I want you to think about this. In fact, not to mention, by the way, there's another reason that there are good tax breaks for business. There's an old saying, from small acorns come big trees. You think Apple Computers started with 200,000 employees? No, it started very small, and out of Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak's garage. You think Microsoft started with a couple 100,000 people? Heck no. It started small. So Congress knows that by subsidizing small business, by subsidizing people like you and me, we can create jobs in the future. Small business is the job incubator in North America. That's why this country has been so prosperous. Now, Mary is a good example of a business owner versus an employee. On the left side, you're going to see a number of expenses. First of all, any of these expenses are normally not deductible. But more importantly, even if they were deductible as an employee business expense, it's got to exceed a high threshold. So, for example, let's say she has a cell phone. Well, that's normally non-deductible as an employee. She has mortgage or rent, which is also non-deductible. Maybe with a mortgage, you can deduct the interest. There's an itemized deduction in the U.S., but that's it. If you pay rent, you can't deduct anything. Car expenses are not deductible as an employee unless they exceed a high threshold. You go out to a restaurant with your spouse or your friend, that's normally not deductible. You go to the movies, you go play golf, also not deductible. Medical expenses for 2013 they have a much higher threshold than they had last year due to Obamacare. In fact, this year it's 10% of your adjusted gross earnings. Just went up. And there's a lot of other expenses that you can't deduct as an employee. But I want you to think about it. If Mary has a self-employed business like you all do, then portions of these expenses now become deductible. We call this, I have a name for it, redirected tax dollars. So let me give you a good example. What if your yearly tax bill was, let's say, $8,000 a year? I think many of you pay more than that between federal, state, and Social Security and all the other things. But wouldn't you rather redirect some of that $8,000 to help fund your business that could possibly earn you years of future income? Think about that. You know, either way, you're going to spend the same $8,000, aren't you? It's just a matter of what you get back in return, isn't it? I call this return on taxes. What's interesting is you really have a choice in many cases where your money goes by proper planning. Now, which do you think is the wiser choice for your future? Do you think that maybe this could be one of the reasons millions of money-smart people have home-based businesses? I mean, to me, it's a very wise choice, isn't it? Now, let me ask you another question. Do you have a cash rebate card? What does your cash rebate card give you? Does it give you points? Maybe you get 1% rebate, 2%. I have a card that gives me 5% on certain things. What if you had a cash rebate card, I'm not exaggerating, that could give you back between 20 to 53%, seriously, cash back on almost everything you buy and almost everything you do? Would you like that? Here's the good news, folks. You already have this card. It's your business card. Because when you're in business, you get to deduct any legitimate expenses that are ordinary and necessary to your business. You get this huge cash rebate on expenses that are deductible. And by the way, that's what a deduction means, by the way. And I want to emphasize something. A deduction is not cash. The cash that you receive is the amount of the deduction times whatever tax bracket you're in. Thus, let's say you get a deduction of $1,000, and you're in the 40% tax bracket, which is a combination, by the way, of federal, state, and Social Security and Medicare. So it's not that high. So on $1,000, if you're in the 40% bracket, you're saving $400 in cash on that $1,000 deduction. So if you generate $10,000 in new deductions for the year, that will generate in this bracket $4,000 in cash. This is, by the way, a lot better than an exemption that you get for a new child in your family. That is a lot less painful than giving birth. And by the way, moreover, this rebate can be as high as 53%, depending on your income and depending on your state of residence. You know, I ask people all over the country, what do they spend on various categories? And it's unbelievable how many people don't know. And here, to give you an idea of how big taxes are and other expenses, here's a study that was done by a financial firm. And it's amazing to me that many people don't really know this. The study shows, first of all, that for the average American, they pay roughly 20% of what they make each paycheck in debt payments. Now, debt includes all debt. I'm talking mortgage debt, education loans, personal loans, car loans, everything. And by the way, this is an average. I've seen this as high as 36%. This is really an average. Now, in addition, there is a day, I'm sure you've heard of this, called Taxpayer Freedom Day. And the way this works, let's pretend that you have to pay all your taxes in full every year before you can take any of the money you earn. If you have to do this, then according to the web, you would basically be working for free until April 17th. Well, if you take April 17th and divide by 365, that means that the average person pays roughly 33% of what they make in taxes. And again, depending on the state you're in, depending on your income, this could be as high as 53%. Okay? So if 33% on the average goes out in state and federal taxes and Social Security and Medicare, and 20% goes out in debt, well, that leaves you 47% for everything else. What is everything else? Food, repairs, vacations, insurance, education for your family, emergencies, and all other expenses. And by the way, don't forget retirement. No wonder it feels like you can't get ahead, and no wonder less than 4% of the people at age 65 can retire with the same standard of living. This is the reason, because you have to live on half of what you're making. Now, here's another really interesting question. Who are the biggest tax cheats in North America? Would you like to know? Because I'm about to tell you is going to sound pretty shocking. And here's the answer. It is a fact that honest business owners cheat themselves out of thousands every year in legal deductions. Why? Because they lack the tax knowledge and don't know how simple, fast, safe, and painless maximizing their business deductions can be. In fact, it's shocking to people when they realize that. In fact, I estimate that small business owners overpay their taxes by over $100 billion a year. That's with a B, folks. And based on my 30 years of experience, I would say easily over 95% of those people didn't think they overpaid. Now, why? Well, there's basically three reasons. The first is procrastination. Procrastination is a major killer. I like to think of it as an alarm clock. If you don't set your alarm to get up for work or to meet or have an appointment, you may not get up. You may miss the appointment. Well, if you don't have something triggering you every day to do the right things, the right questions, the right documentation, certain things on your car, what happens? You forget. You don't do it. Procrastination is a huge killer. The second reason is total lack of tax knowledge. You know, you don't know what you don't know, and not knowing, I can promise you, is very, very expensive. And the third reason is fear of the IRS. The good news is that there's no need to fear them, because with my help, you can play totally within the IRS rules and easily keep thousands more of your own money. The bottom line is who everyone should really fear is themselves and their own continued lack of knowledge about all the legal rights of the business-owning taxpayer. So here's my point. IRS isn't costing you money. You are. You're voluntarily giving IRS more of your money through educational neglect and procrastination than I promise you would ever pay in fines. But we're going to fix that for the willing, aren't we? Now, there are a few cash drain myths that can help explain this. The first myth is actually only 7 words long, and yet it causes more people to lose money than probably any single financial mistake. And that 7-word myth is, my accountant takes care of my taxes. Most people that say this, by the way, don't even have an accountant. They just deliver a shoebox of receipts to a tax preparer at year end, which is a huge costly error and a bad choice. You know, my point are accountants are essential. I don't even know why people who are self-employed do their own tax return. That is absolutely asinine. And I recommend that everyone in business have an accountant. But if you don't know what to tell your accountant or to give your accountant by December 31st, you've got a big problem. If you don't have the high-quality tax documentation in place, there's only so much they can do for you with poor records. I mean, they want to help you, but it's got to be a team effort. Now, here's another myth, and this myth is really interesting. I've had a lot of people come up to me and say, hey, Mr. Botkin, you know, I don't pay taxes. In fact, I get a refund every year. I can't believe how many people think they don't pay taxes because they get a refund. It's shocking. So I actually did an analysis. I asked myself, okay, let's say I have a single individual, and a single person, and he makes or she makes $50,000 a year net of all their deductions. How much do they pay in taxes? Now, what's interesting, on $50,000 between federal, state, and Social Security, they pay $12,917. Now, you'll notice estimated tax withholding is more than the tax usually owed. The reason is twofold. One, the government wants to make sure they get their money. But the second reason is when the withholding is more and you're getting a refund, you're feeling good. Are you feeling better, aren't you? But the point is, you may be getting a refund, but you're still paying $12,917. This translates to 25.8% of your net taxable income you're paying in taxes. This is only on someone making $50,000 a year net of their deductions. This is not Donald Trump here. And if you're making $100,000 a year, then this translates to 32.4% of what you make in taxes. And if somebody makes $250,000, this translates to 37.7% of what you make in taxes. So even though you're getting a refund, you're still paying taxes, and you're paying a lot of them. Now, here's another real big myth. What's the difference in tax benefits and fringe benefits that you